Shalom Israel, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua Barakatham. My sisters, Yahweh Shemar Ilithah Ba'ashem Yahushai. Pre-service of Kumgawan. It's the Pittsburgh class, Thursday class. It's the Ashley became the commander Junior Yohana. Started out 1 West on 25th Street, Harlem, New York. And bringing out the troops since 1969. Today we're going to talk about Labor Day and basically for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come out of America spiritually. Get out of the wicked things of this wicked nation. So I don't know if many of you know about the history of Labor Day. So we'll get the history of Labor Day, and then we're going to jump into some scriptures. All right. So this is an article online on the history of Labor Day. Observe the first Monday in September. Labor Day is an annual celebration of the social and economic achievements of American workers. The holiday is rooted in the late 19th century, when labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. All right, so first off, we know how the Most High feels about celebrations and man-made holidays given by our oppressor, and for Israelites to observe these things, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's a wicked thing, and it's not of our people. And then you have to reconsider, beside that, what was our plight? What was our conditions during this time? This is like the early 19th century, the early 1900s. We were in a terrible condition. We had just been, maybe 30, 40 years removed out of slavery, physical, slavery. And a lot of us migrated from the rural South up into the North, looking to get away from the lynchings, the oppression, and to find, jobs with good pay. But of course, we were denied all that. We didn't get jobs with better pay. Still, the lynchings went on even to this day. I mean, the lynchings are still going on. The police, what they do to Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians in the street is pretty much a lynching. I mean, we know what happened to George Floyd here in Pittsburgh. We know what happened to the young brother Antoine Rose Jr. So these things are still going on, and this is hundreds of years ago, over 400 years ago, and these things have not ceased. Okay, so like I said, labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. That right there, America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. You putting your love into a nation and into a people that do not favor you, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's a set of a failure for you. Putting your love into the strength of America and its well-being, it means you're going down. It's not for our benefit. It's not for our benefit. If we put our strength into America, that keeps us at the bottom of the economic, social structure. It also keeps us at odds with the Most High, because we know that this nation is against the rules and laws and statutes of the Most High. So if we're partaking in what's going on here in America, we can't be keeping the Most High's laws, which is a detriment to us. We're destroyed from doing that, and we'll continue to be destroyed if we continue to follow the practices of the heathens around us, the things that we see in America and all over the world, these heathen nations, because we serve a God who is a no nonsense God. He's not going to, keep accepting our sins and our lackluster, will to, do his law, statutes, and commands. So again, giving put your faith, all your strength into America and its prosperity and its well-being is, going against the Most High, because the Most High is not with America. And you can see that right now from what's happening, in America with the floods and the plagues and whatnot that's happening. This place is, soon to be over with, Lord willing. Okay, get back into this history here. Early adopters. Before it was a federal holiday, Labor Day was recognized by labor activists in individual states. Okay, so it was on a small level before it went major. After municipal ordinances were passed in 1885 and 1886, a movement developed to secure state legislation. New York was the first state to introduce a bill, but Oregon was the first to pass a law recognizing Labor Day. On February 21st, 1887, Okay, so Oregon was the first to pass a law recognizing Labor Day on February 21st, 1887. During 1887, four more states, Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York, passed laws creating a Labor Day holiday. By the end of the decade, Connecticut, Nebraska, and Pennsylvania had followed suit. By 1894, 23 more states had adopted the holiday. And on June 28, 1894, Congress passed an act making the first Monday in September of each year a legal holiday. Okay, so this is the American government. This is, basically the Edomites, the so-called oppressor, the white man, the devil that the Bible speaks about. And this is his thing. And most of these things are his things, and things that he's copied from other, Hamites and whatnot. Things that are not of our people, but these are things that they observe. And we have picked these things up because we're not in the knowledge of our God. We refuse to seek out our Creator and do what the Most High wants us to do. So we have fallen because of it, and we are being trodden underfoot by these other nations, these heathen nations, because we won't serve our God. Okay, so we're gonna get into who actually founded this so-called holiday. It says McGuire versus McGuire. One spelled McGuire and the other spelled Maguire. Okay. So it said, who first proposed a holiday for workers? It's not entirely clear, but two workers can make a solid claim to the founder of Labor Day title. Some records show that in 1882, Peter J. McGuire, General Secretary of the Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners and a co-founder of the American Federation of Labor, suggested setting aside a day for a general holiday for the laboring classes to honor those who from rude nature have delved and carved all the grandeur we behold. So first of all, this is just some basic white man who, works and probably doesn't really want to work, but he's probably pissed that he has to work because, no matter what they say about Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, we know who the real lazy man on the earth is. So this is probably some Edomite who's upset that he has to work and provide for his family. And so he, sits aside one of his buddies and a group of other Edomites, and just says we should come up with a holiday to honor ourselves. It's just like the Edomite, the oppressor. That's what he does. He wants to destroy you. He wants to have authority over the Most High. He wants to create his own everything. He wants to rule everything. He wants to make his life as easy as possible without doing any work, and then look at you and look down on you as if you're the bum, you're the lazy one. But this is what he does. Okay, so but look at this here: a general holiday for the laboring classes to honor those who from rude nature have delved and carved all the grandeur we behold. So this is how cocky these devils are. He's telling you right there, who from rude nature. What rude nature? If you know anything about history, you know that the so-called Edomite, the oppressor, and the devil that the Bible speaks about, enslaved our people, our ancestors, and brought us over here by force to build their nation. And they murdered off, the First Nation people as well. So that's the rude nature that he's talking about. He's been that way, since conception. This is who he is. This is who the so-called oppressor is. He has a rude nature. He doesn't care for anyone but his own well-being. And he'll even take out his own people, just to get a crumb. Who from rude nature have delved and carved all the grandeur we behold. Okay, so, but Peter McGuire's place in Labor Day history has not gone unchallenged. Many believe that machinist Matthew McGuire, not Peter McGuire, founded the holiday. So there's another devil, basically another Edomite who was a machinist, another worker who probably was tired of working and probably wanted to be honored and praised because he did what everybody else is, doing. And so that's giving him credit for the holiday. Recent research seems to support the contention that Matthew McGuire, later the secretary of Local 344 of the International Association of Machinists in Paterson, New Jersey, proposed a holiday in 1882 while serving as secretary of the Central Labor Union in New York. According to the New Jersey Historical Society, after President Cleveland signed the law creating a national Labor Day, so President Cleveland signed it in, the Paterson Morning Call published an opinion piece stating that The souvenir pin should go to Alderman Matthew McGuire of this city, who is the undisputed author of Labor Day as a holiday. But McGuire attended the country's first Labor Day parade in New York City that year. So two Edomites who basically works just like most of us today as a slavery for us anyway. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's not so much slavery for them, but basically two people who are working and probably, didn't really want to work and they wanted to be honored just because they're working or doing some type of, something that might be a little too extensive for them because they really don't like to work. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've been on a slavery. When you really look at all the oppressors, they barely do any work. We're always the ones that's getting the work, the real work. Okay, so we're going to talk about the first Labor Day observation, and then we'll get into these scriptures. The first Labor Day holiday was celebrated on Tuesday, September 5th, 1882, in New York City, in accordance with the plans of the Central Labor Union. The Central Labor Union held its second Labor Day holiday just a year later on September 5th, 1883. Okay, then it goes into talk about, more states, adopted the, and then, of course, Cleveland wrote it into a law, 1894. Now listen to this, okay? And then we'll get into the scriptures. Okay, many Americans celebrate Labor Day with parades, picnics, and parties. Keep that in mind. Festivities, very similar to those outlined by the first proposal for a holiday, which suggested that the day should be observed with a street parade to exhibit the strength and esprit de corps of the trade and labor organizations of the community, followed by a festival for the recreation and amusement of the workers and their families. This became the pattern for the celebrations of Labor Day. Okay, then it goes on to talk about later they would add speeches by so-called prominent other devils and whatnot. And, it's something that's you're paying tribute to American society. Now, you as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man or woman, again, this is like any other, devilish holiday, whether it's Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, whatever it is. You're serving the thoughts, the imagination, and the strength of your oppressor by doing these things, because it's not of the Most High. All right. And by doing that, again, you are esteeming this nation and, not indulging in the prosperity of your own people and, of your own good. Okay. So we're going to get some scriptures here. All right. Okay. So the first scripture we're going to pull out is Amos 5:21. All right. Amos 5:21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. See, Labor Day is an assembly where Americans come together and they celebrate the strength, prosperity of America. And it is a feast day because what do they celebrate? You eat. I'm pretty sure they got the pork or the pig somewhere in there. That's always there. And like I said, God hates and despises these feast days and will not smell in their solemn assemblies. So the Most High is not with this. You understand? And Yahweh Shah taught against this as well. And so did all the prophets in the Bible. So you, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman, this is not for you as well. And for things to go well with you here in America, you have to hate and despise these feast days, just like the Most High. Okay? And not smelling these solemn assemblies. I know you might have a neighbor next to you who might not be in the truth or might not know, the facts or the truth of what's going on. And, they want to get you out there and get you in the American spirit, but the American spirit for you is going to anger the Most High, and which is going to be detrimental to you by serving America, because we're not here to serve America. We're here to serve the Most High. And that's how we ended up in this place. And first of all, because, we went against the Most High's rules, laws, and commands. So again, I'll read that from the top. Amos 5:21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. So the Most High is not with your solemn assemblies. Okay. He doesn't care about your feast days. He doesn't care that Matthew McGuire and Peter McGuire were tired on the job and wanted to be celebrated because they were at work and they came up with the, the idea of a holiday because they were part of a labor union. He doesn't care about none of that. And black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men and women, you are not supposed to care about that. Okay. All right. So, and because we refuse to listen to the Most High, we refuse to put him first and keep the memory of our God in our minds, and try to get get into these scriptures, get into the truth, get into these classes under the command of Junior Hana, the ISUPK, or the ISUPK under command of Junior Hana. We're lost people, and a lot of things have befallen us. And back then, something very wicked happened to our people. And we're going to pull Deuteronomy 28 and 32. All right. Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Whose sons and whose daughters? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, men and women. Our sons, our daughters were given to another people. What other people? The so-called Edomite, the so-called, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about. Our sons and daughters, our ancestors, our people, and the transatlantic slave trade, the Middle Passage, were taken by the white man, the so-called white man, the oppressor. And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand. So think about that. Think about our sisters, our black women, and give yourselves a hand, you black women, because I know, what you experience and what you go through here in this hell in America too, and all over the world. So just imagine how a black woman feels about her son, her baby boy, or a brother, and his daughter, and vice versa. You see these things in movies. I mean, fail with longing for them all the day long. Think about this. What happened in the siege when the oppressor came to, take us from, the west coast of Africa and bring us over here into America. And once they got us over here, what happened? They put us up on option blocks. I mean, just think about that. You can picture this in your head: a woman giving birth to a child, a baby boy or a girl, and the child's only maybe 3 months or a few months old, and before she can even develop a real relationship with her child, and she might even have a bond with her child already, because black women, they love their children, their children, their boys and their girls, and so our fathers as well. Even though the world paints it the opposite way, but nobody loves their people or their children like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But just imagine your child being ripped out of your arms and sold to some random devil, and more than likely you'll probably never see that child again. And this child is going to become a servant, maybe be lynched, or just he's going to be prophet for some devil. And you give birth to this child, black woman, and this child out of 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, maybe a year, whatever, is taken from you, and he's gone. There's nothing he or she is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. That's why it says there shall be no might in your hand, might in our hand. There's nothing you can do about it. They take your child from you, and you got to look. Your eyes fail, your strength fail, longing for your children. And this is a curse that happened to us. And why did this happen? We'll bring this in today because we want to do things like celebrate Labor Day. We want to celebrate Christmas. We want to eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. We want to continue to have sex with whores. We want to hate our brothers and our sisters. We want to murder and kill each other. And more importantly, we want to serve. We don't want to serve our God. We don't want to serve the Most High. We want to serve other gods. And here in America, we want to serve the cross and the Christian church, or we want to get into Islam and worship the Kaaba stone and serve Allah. And this upsets the Most High, and that's why in Deuteronomy 28:32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Okay, so again, we were given to we were taken by the Edomites. Okay, that's the other people. Your sons and your daughters, our sons and our daughters, were given to the Edomites. We had no power in our arms or in our bodies to save, to help them. There was nothing we could do about it. And we long for the women, the men long for their children. And, and we were brought into America for what? Profit, for the white man's profit, to build up his nation. That's why this nation is the way it is now, because your ancestors built this nation. We're putting America for slave breeding, forced slave breeding for their profit. A young man, a young woman, old man, old woman, an old man, a little girl were forced, put together sexually to, produce children for the well-being of the oppressor. Okay. And like I said, you can give birth, a woman can give birth to a child, and just imagine the fear of thinking every day and every night that you could possibly lose your child tomorrow, or the child could be taken from you just because the slave master, just might be wicked, could just kill your child. He could owe a debt to another devil, and he lose a bet and take your child, and that'd be the payment for his debt. Talk about not having no might in your hand. That is just I just couldn't imagine the feeling. I mean, you don't even have, you don't have assurance that your child is going to be with you, or that you can protect your child. And as a man, I don't know, I couldn't imagine that as a man, as a brother, someone taking something from me out of my family, and there was nothing I could do about it. So like, again, and like, this is all for their profit. You understand? So they would slave breed, our ancestors, for their profit and to build up their nation. And it didn't matter if it was a old man and a little girl, could be 11 or 12, 13 years old. I mean, something like that today, something like that happened today, you're thrown into jail for that. But, the white man, he did this like it was nothing back then, and it was all for his profit. It was for him. So one more time from the top. Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there should be no might in thine hand. Okay. Again, like I said, we started this talking about Labor Day. We can't observe things like Labor Day, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. Labor Day is not for us. It angers our creator, our God, the Most High Yahweh. Okay. And like I said, again, Christ came and spoke against these things, and Christ kept all the laws. Christ was sinless. So therefore you can be sinless as well, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. All right. Let's get to the next scripture. Deuteronomy 28:49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Here we go again. I'll read that from the top. Deuteronomy 28:49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far. A nation, another group of people. And of course, we know that is the Edomite. Okay. From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. And it's ironic that the symbol for the so-called oppressor, the devil, the white man, is the eagle. If you look on any history, you look on his money, the dollar bill, you look in it like back in the Roman days, the Rome days, on their shields, the breastplates, so that they would have the eagle on their shields. That's the symbol, and there's some symbolic to their nature, the bald eagle and whatnot. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. And that like, just imagine, like, when they came and came in contact, when the conquistadors came in contact with the First Nation people, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So when they came and came and massacred the Indians had, the so-called Indians, but we know that us are Israelite brothers and sisters, they didn't understand what these this devil was trying to do. They were, and it says, like, even in in history notes, it says that it was a peaceable multitude. Like, when they came here, they met the First Nations people. They were a peaceable people. You know what I mean? They were trying to be, show peace to them. But of course, war was in his heart. And I'm talking about the oppressor. And so that's why I said, whose tongue thou shalt not understand. 28:50. a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Fierce countenance, that's their oppressor. He don't care if you're a 3 month, 1 month old baby or a 75-year-old woman. He does not care. To him, you're a nigger, and he's going to treat you as such. That's how he feels. Salakia for my language, but that's just what it is. He's going to look at you that way, and he to him you don't belong. You never will belong. All you are is a workforce, a profit. You're a step stool. You understand that? And once he gets what he gets from you, and exhausts every little thing out of you, he throws you away, kill you, or he has no need for you, or pass you on to his Edomite buddy, so they can do the same thing to you. All right. So, there's a lot of horrors that happen, here, in the slave trade. I mean, we know that, a lot of things happen to, our children and whatnot, during the slave trade. One more time from the top. Deuteronomy 28:49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Deuteronomy 28:50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. All right, now listen to this. This is from the book To Be a Slave. I think it's on page 54, 55. A major contributor to the high infant and child death rate was chronic undernourishment. See, this falls into like not showing favor to the young. He don't care if you're a child or whatnot. All he looks at is, he might want to maintain you just so you can be a workhorse, so he can earn profit. But they don't care about you. They never have and never will. Slave owners showed surprisingly little concern for slave mothers' health or diet during pregnancy. So this is why our sisters are pregnant, carrying these babies. So they didn't care about what a woman should eat and and how their body is going to be, to bring forth these children. Providing pregnant women with no extra rations and employing them in intensive field work, even in the last week before they gave birth. Talk about the damn devil. Sisters, going almost full term, belly big, out there. And this damn devil got them in the field picking cotton, or in the house doing some type of, service or servitude. And, not even properly nourishing the sisters, giving them, the proper things to eat, to bring forth a healthy child and whatnot. But this is your oppressor. That's why it says, again, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. The devil, the oppressor does not care. He doesn't care what condition you are. He don't care if you're pregnant, no pregnant, no matter what the situation is. He sees you as prophet. He sees you as someone that's not on his level, not equal to him, and you're just here for to do labor for him. That's what America is built on. And it's just ironic that the first Monday is Labor Day. That's what his definition of what Labor Day is. By you serving him, and he's gaining profit, and you being crushed all the way through white supremacy and having nothing. That's what Labor Day really is about. Not surprisingly, slave mothers suffered high rates of spontaneous abortions, stillbirths, and deaths shortly after birth. Half of all the slave infants weighed less than 5 pounds at birth, or what we would today consider to be severely underweight. So just by the sisters not being nourished properly, being in these harsh conditions, out picking cotton in a field in the hot sun while they're ready to give birth to the baby at any moment, this caused our children to be their children to be affected by that. And when they would give birth to the children, some of them wouldn't even make it. They would be born and would die, or or be abortion. This is a lot of wickedness. Let's get into some other things that how it affected our people and whatnot. Okay. Now this is going into like the children and the fathers and whatnot. We'll jump into that next. Okay. Growth rates among slave children were extremely low. Most infants were weaned early, within 3 or 4 months of birth, and then fed gruel or porridge made of cornmeal. So this is what they were being fed The children were being fed during these times in slavery. Around the age of 3, they began to eat vegetables, soups, potatoes, molasses, grits, hominy, and cornbread. This diet lacked protein, thiamine, niacin, calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D. And as a result, slave children often suffered from night blindness, abdominal swellings, swollen muscles, bowed legs, skin lesions, and convulsions. So from them feeding you this crap, this garbage, this caused children to have, severe, injuries and things would happen to them. Again, go into the scriptures. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. I mean, who else could these scriptures be talking about? It can't be talking about nobody else. It's talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, because these things happen to us. About half of all U.S. slave children grew up apart from their father, either because he lived on another plantation, had been sold away, or was white. All right. Again, about half of all U.S. slave children grew up apart from their father, either because he lived on another plantation, had been sold away, or was white. So, of course, there you go. That's the family structure blow number 1 right there. Get the father out of the home, or destroy the father, so we can attack that woman and her children. And again, if you go up into the scriptures, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. All right, that's that fierce nation. It's the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks about. On large plantations, infants and very young children were supervised and cared for by adults other than their parents. Children as young as 2 or 3 might work at domestic chores. 2 or 3 doing chores, and you can, including child care or collecting trash and kindling, toting water, scaring away birds, weeding or plucking grubs off of plants. These are children 2 or 3 being put to work at that young age already, getting them ready for that major work that's coming when they hit about 7 or 8, which is in the field, in the plantation. Generally, in the U.S. South, children enter field work between the ages of 8 and 12. There you go. Deuteronomy 28 and 50. A nation of fierce countenance will show not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. He don't give a damn about whether you're old or you're young. He gonna put you to work. That's what the oppressor is going to do. He don't give a damn what your age is and what your conditions are. He wants labor, and whether your life is on the line or not, he wants his labor. Period. Slave children received harsh punishments, not dissimilar from those meted out to adults. So the children were treated just as bad as the adults. Again, Deuteronomy 28:50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. These little children, from anywhere from 2 or 3 years old on up to 8, they got treated just like the adults. Slave children received harsh punishments, not dissimilar from those meted out to adults. They might be whipped or even required to swallow worms. They failed to pick off cotton or tobacco plants. Talk about who's the damn devil that the Bible speaks about. These children might be whipped or even required to swallow worms. They failed to pick off cotton or tobacco plants. Again, the white man is looking at it as, this is for profit for me. He don't give a damn about your conditions or about what you can't do and what you say, how hurt you are, what disease you got. Get out there, pick that cotton. And he's talking to a 3-year-old child, 4 or 5-year-old, pick those worms off of that cotton. And if you fail to do that, if the worm gets to the cotton, he's going to whip you or beat you for that. A nation of fierce countenance. Okay. During adolescence, majority of slave youth were sold or hired away. So, when you get about, 8 and, 9, 10, 11, 12, Again, there was always that fear that you might be sold off. You might, some of them may have been living, fortunate enough to actually live with their mother and their father on the same plantation, but that was never guaranteed. Any day you could wake up and be shipped off to another plantation, one that could be near or one could be miles and states away, and you may never see your family again. And again, this is curses that's happened to our ancestors and what's happening to us today because we don't want to keep the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High. Again, today, you want to celebrate Labor Day? This is the type of punishments that's happening for celebrating things and doing things that the Most High don't want you to do. Okay? And these are some wicked punishments, wicked curses. All right? Get the next verse here. The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. I'll read that again for you. Matthew chapter 19, verse 17. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. This is a very serious thing, Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indian, men and women, keeping these commandments. Because if you're not keeping the commandments, you're a sinner. And the Most High does not protect sinners. And if you don't have the Most High's protection, then you are at the mercy of these other nations, these heathen nations, and they can have their way with you. Okay. When it says enter into life, you're no longer spiritually dead. Okay. You're no longer falling for the tricks and and whatever of the oppressor. Police aren't beating you over the head and putting their knee on your neck for the world to see. Okay. Because, you have protection now because you're keeping the Most High's laws. Okay. You don't want to be at the mercy of the oppressor. All right. You want the Most High's protection. You don't ever want the Most High to turn his back to you. You don't ever want that to turn his face from you. Okay. And like I said, being, entering into life is, that you're an Israelite. Not only do you know that you're an Israelite, you're keeping the law, statutes, and commands. All right. You learn about all the prophets in the book. You know that the prophets, Christ, are all black men, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men. Christ, of course, is the tribe of Judah, but you understand what I'm saying to you. The people in the Bible are people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay. We know that the Most High is a black man in spirit. Okay. You learn these laws. So you won't be observing Labor Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's, Juneteenth. You won't be saying happy birthday to nobody. And by you not doing these things, you'll begin to be, in favor to the Most High because you're keeping his law, statutes, and commands. You're not keeping the ordinances of America and the so-called white man. All right. Then also you learn to love your own people. You put your people first. You learn to love your sisters, your brothers. You don't want to hurt them no more. You want to have mercy on them. And by doing that, the Most High will have mercy on you. All right. And the greatest thing is by doing what the Most High Yahweh says, by following the teachings of Yahweh, Jesus Christ, as they call him, ignorantly in America, then the heathen nations, the so-called oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, the white man, comes down from his high state and you go up. Okay. And that's what we want. We want to be in rulership. We know that heaven and hell are conditions. We want to rule. We don't want to be in poverty. We don't want to be in the ghettos no more. We don't want to be, socially on an economic, social scale at the bottom and at the mercy of these other people. We want to rule. That's what you want, black man, Hispanic man, Native man, and woman. You want to rule. Don't lie to yourself. You want to rule. That's what you want. You love your people first. That's what this is about. Okay. To the next verse here. The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. I read that again from the top. Proverbs 6 and 23. For the commandment is a lamp. What do lamps do? Lamps, give light. Or, it's the shade or whatever over the light. But a lamp, in this case, is talking about, It gives light, and the law is light. So look at, they're comparing, like, a lamp gives light in darkness. Who's in darkness? We are Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We're First Nation people. We are in darkness because what is darkness? Not keeping the law, statutes, and commands, not knowing that we are Israelites, or the chosen people of the Most High. Not understanding that in the Bible, this Bible is all talking about only Black people. Not knowing who your enemies are. That's being in the darkness. Okay. And the law is light. What's in this Bible, what's contained in this Bible, is your way out of the darkness. It shows you how to have the correct relationship with sloggy. I want to use that word. How to follow the Creator the correct way in this Bible. All right. And that is your light. It's gonna help you. And in these wicked kingdoms this kingdom that we in service to, it's going to help us in this kingdom. All right. And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Reproof is like a criticism for a fault. So if you're eating pork, the reproof is in this Bible. In what? Leviticus 11:7, chapter 11, verse 7. Not eating swine. That's a reproof. You understand that? And then when you understand that, you can keep that law, and now you know something that upsets the Most High, or that that will have you at odds with your Creator. You'll know in Amos 5:21 to not celebrate American feast days. You won't be celebrating Labor Day no more. You won't be saying happy birthday to nobody no more. You won't be saying Merry Christmas or getting Christmas gifts, or putting on a costume. As a sister's putting a costume as a witch, or a brother, dressing up, like the dead presidents on Halloween, and you won't do these things, and it won't upset the Most High. That's what reproofs are. It's a criticism for folks, and we have a lot of folks, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. We have a lot. Okay. You won't be getting you come into the knowledge. You come into the you get criticized or reproved for with these things, and you understand that, like, brothers can't get shape ups no more. And that's why it says in the book of Leviticus 18:3. We know that shape ups are an Egyptian practice. That's a Hamite practice to get yourself lined up or whatnot. And like the generals and the men above me and the officers above me say, you just let your hair grow in, man. Just let it grow in. And some of us, you just have a natural hairline. You can get your hair cut down, but once you put that line to it, you shape it up, or you mar the corners of your beard and whatnot. That's where the sin comes in. But if you just let it grow, man, you just have a natural hairline. So the Most High blessed a lot of us with that already. Some of us, we don't have it, but the bottom line is it's a law, and you can't do it. So you'll be criticized for that. That's what these scriptures will do. Let you know that you're doing something wrong. Okay. And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So finding out what you're doing wrong and getting into this Bible and following the law, statutes, and commands is the way of life. Brings you out of the darkness, brings you into the light. Okay. Like I said, the darkness there is America. Doing things of the other heathen nations. Not understanding that you are the chosen of the Most High, and that the Most High is a racist. God loves you above all people. That's being in darkness. To know that you got to deal with your own people, not have relationships with people outside of your own race. When you come into the knowledge of that, that's a law that you need to keep if you didn't already know. Like I said, celebrating holidays. Learning your dietary law. These are all ways of life. You understand, and you want to come out of that darkness, because being in the darkness about not knowing your dietary law. A lot of us, we have like diabetes, we have cancer. A lot of us, are sexually immoral, having sex with whores and whatnot. And that's what darkness is. Things that would ultimately destroy you. But we want to come out of the darkness. We want to come into the light. And how you do that? Keep the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High, which is in this Bible. And this Bible is only for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians only. Okay? Get into the next scripture here. Okay. Proverbs chapter 7, verse 2. Keep my commandments and live, and my law is the apple of thine eye. I say it again. The book of Proverbs chapter 7, verse 2. Keep my commandments and live. That's how you live, black man, keeping the commandments. You don't live, and I believe there's scripture, Matthew 4:4, precept with that. But he answered and said, Salakia, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. See, a lot of us think that, we get that slavery where it's paying you $100,000 a year or more. You become a rapper or some type of entertainer, celebrity, you getting all this money. And now you think that, that's the apple of your eye. You're going to get paid here in America and, you're going to come up, you're going to get the bag and you think that's going to change the conditions. Guess what? If you're Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, those curses will follow you in whatever situation you're in and wherever you go. You want to run to Africa? Guess what? You can put on the dashiki and run to Africa, but guess what? The curses are going to follow you there. So it doesn't matter what situation you're in. If you're not keeping these laws, statutes, commands, you're not living. And to live, it says, Proverbs 7:2, keep my commandments and live. And my law is the apple of thine eye. And of course, the apple of your eye is what you cherish above all things. And this is so heavy, Black man. Above all things, you have to cherish the Most High, His law, statutes, and commands. The same energy you put into going into that booth and dropping that hot 16 that you like to do for your new album, the same effort you put into, getting with that whore that you want to get with after the club, the same effort you want to put into, hustling on the block to get the bag, as you so call it. You want to put that into learning the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High and serving your God. Now, of course, those things that I mentioned, you're not supposed to do that at all. I'm just using an example. But the apple of your eye should be the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High. Keeping His law is the apple of your eye. That's how you don't fail here, in the world or in America or all over the, where we've been scattered and dispersed to. In America, you have many things that could throw you off track or block your mind on what it really needs to be on. You got a wife, a sister, brother's got a wife, sister's got a husband. We got children, we got slaveries, jobs or whatnot. You got friends, you got money. Money is the big one. And all these things can throw you off of not making the Most High the apple of your eye. And we have to take time and really think, what is more important here? Service to the Most High or how my friends think about me? Service to the Most High, or is my wife gonna get mad at me because I don't want to celebrate Christmas? Service to the Most High, or the brothers, or my kids, are going to hate me because I won't get them Christmas presents. What's more important, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man? The service to God is the most important thing, because guess what? If you're serving the Most High, you can't go wrong. Yeah, people might be hurt, their feelings may be hurt, but guess what? The Most High is more important than them, and that comes before your child, your woman, your husband, your friends, whatever. The Most High is the most important in His law, statutes, and commands. All right. And just so you know, when you're keeping these law, statutes, and commands, right, it will go well with you. And when you have the protection of the Most High, nobody can mess with you. And I'm gonna pull a scripture here in the Bible and run through it real quick to show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're gonna go to the book of Judith, verse 5:1. And this is a story about there was a king who was inquiring about the children of Israel, whether he should move on them or not. Like, basically, move on them, like maybe start a war or to hurt them or not. And then so I'll get into it. Judah 5:1. Then it was declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that's the Assyrians, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had fortified all the tops of the high hills and had laid impediments in the campaign countries. 5:2. Wherewith he was very angry and called all the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the seacoast. So he's calling, of course, we know the Moabites, the Chinese, the Ammonites, the Japanese, and his king, called all his people because, he wanted, go after Israelites. Judah 5:3. And he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who is this people that dwelleth in the hill country? And what are the cities that they inhabit? And what is the multitude of their army? And wherein is their power and strength? And what king is set over them, or captain of their army? So this king is inquiring because he wants to make a move on them. But he's asking these questions like, basically, should I make a move on them or not? Okay. Judah 5:4. And why have they determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? So, the Israelites weren't trying to deal with this heathen. So he's like, I'm the king. Why have you come before me? 5:5. Then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, the Japanese, let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. So he's about to tell them about these people, about the Israelites. Okay, he said he's not going to lie about it either. 5 and 6. This people are descended of the Chaldeans. Okay, so we know that Father Abraham was of Ur of the Chaldeans, over which is, I believe, in the Babylon area. Okay, so that's where our father, what was from, Abraham. Okay, we know Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, these people are descendant of the Chaldeans. 5 and 7. And they sojourned hereto in Mesopotamia because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. See, so Abraham got up out of that land because he wasn't serving the gods of the people in Mesopotamia and Babylon and whatnot. He was not serving them. He wanted to serve the Most High God. And this is heavy because going back to this Labor Day and these things of the heathen nations, just because you're here in America does not mean you have to conduct yourselves like them. You don't have to be like the heathens. You can still serve your God here in the projects with rats and roaches or whatever your circumstances are. You can still serve the Most High God. Okay. Abraham did that. Your father Abraham did that. Okay. So he got up out of there because he wasn't serving those gods. He knew he had to serve the Most High. 5 and 8. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven. He didn't dare do what his father did. So that's like you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. A lot of us grew up in a Christian church, and not lie. And a lot of our grandmothers had us going to church, believing, the false lies of the Christian church. This is like what Abraham had to go through. His fathers worshiped false gods and whatnot too. But he got up out of that, just like you today. You get up out of that damn Christian church or that Muslim mosque and come into the truth under Commander General Yohana and the ISUPK. All right, get into these scriptures, learn these scriptures. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to skip down a little more because I'm not going to go all into it, but I'm going to get to the main part. Okay. Okay, it talks about when they went at 5 and 10. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, because they were in the land of Canaan, because after Abraham left out of Canaan, he went into Mesopotamia, he went into Canaan. So a famine covered the land of Canaan, and they went down to Egypt and sojourned there while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. So we went into, to the land of the Hamites. 5:11. Therefore, the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them and brought them low with laboring and brick and made them slaves. See, again, and there's another thing too, not to jump off subject, but they always want to call us Africans. And this is telling you here that the children of Israel went into Africa and left out of Canaan because of a famine. And they went into Africa, eventually became a great nation. But they put us to work. Just like slavery here, they put us to work. That's where the so-called oppressor white man got it from. He knew that the Hamites did the same thing to us. They put us to work in brick and mortar. We were building those pyramids and whatnot. That's what this is talking about. Okay. Judah 5 and 12. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. Hear that again. 5 and 12. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. See, when we cry to our God, we keep the law, statutes, and commands, the Most High hears us, and he will punish our enemies. Okay? One more time. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. Okay. Okay. And then it goes into how we got into the land. We got into the land We dealt with the Amorites and whatnot. And then we sinned. Okay, well, we got into, this is before we sinned. Okay, 5:17. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. Again, this is heavy. Judah 5:17. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. While they didn't celebrate Labor Day, Christmas, Halloween, eat pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, the Lord was with them. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. Don't celebrate Labor Day. Don't celebrate any other holiday for that matter. Keep the law, statutes, and commands of the Bible. If we do that, 5:17, and whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. Now watch this. You want to celebrate Labor Day? You want to buy Christmas gifts? You want to tell your mother happy birthday, celebrate birthday, have birthday cake? You want to eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster? You don't want to keep the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High? The book of Judah, chapter 5, verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them meaning keeping these laws, statutes, and commands. This is where he appoints you at. When you departed from this, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives in a land that was not theirs. We go back to Deuteronomy 28:32. Another people shall take you captive. Let's get it. I don't want to. Thy son, Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Let's go back to that. But Judah 5:18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. Who else is this talking about? Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. It's talking about you. It can't be talking about nobody else. You're the only people this happened to. Listen to this. Judah 5:19. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered. That's what happens to you when you don't listen to the Most High. You get destroyed and you get scattered all over the globe. And that's what happened to you here. That's why some of us are here in America. Some of us are in the UK. Some of us are in the Caribbean. All different type of places. We're everywhere. Russia, all over, Asia, whatever. And are come up from the places where they are scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. 5:20. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. If you're sinning against the Most High God, if you're in America, you're celebrating Labor Day, Halloween, Christmas, you eat pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, you continue to get shape-ups, you continue to get tattoos, you continue to do everything that the Most High say not to do. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. That is your ruin, because you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. That's what happened to you. The oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, has overcome you. The heathen nations are over top of you. In your neighborhoods, you got to go to their stores to buy your products. You're broken down, poor, trodden down in your neighborhood, and they rule over you in your neighborhood. You go to the Arab chicken joint, the Chinese nail salons. This is all in your neighborhoods. Okay. Judah, the book of Judah, chapter 5, verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. This is basically telling you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, if you are keeping these laws, statutes, and commands of the Most High, nobody can F with you. Period. If you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commands, if you want to celebrate Labor Day, the next Monday coming up, it's not going to go well with you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. It's not going to go well with you. Cops are going to continue to still beat you over your head and murder you, and take a couple of weeks off with pay and to get their job back. All right, you're still going to be at the bottom of the social and economic ladder. You're going to still get the lowest paying jobs. Okay, everybody's going to continue to laugh at you and rule over you, and your conditions are still going to stay in hell, and they're going to be in their heaven. All right, get the next scripture. The book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Okay, and this is heavy, and I'm bringing this out because she is Mary, a black woman, just like you black women here in America. She shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people. Who is his people? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians from their sins. And of course, in the Christian church, they're teaching you that God, Jesus came for the world. He's here to save everyone, and he loves everyone. But again, for he shall save his people from their sins. Okay, this is a sister. This is Mary, a black woman. She'll give birth to, our Messiah, the most, Yahushua, ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Okay, again, from the top. Matthew 1:21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. And the reason why I'm bringing this out again is because we look at this, because of the situation we're in, the oppression that we face here in America. A lot of us don't believe that this book is actually about us, but this book is about us, black man. This book is only specifically just for us. It's not for nobody else. That's what I'm telling you. Mary, a black woman, a sister, will give birth to a black man, Jesus Christ. Okay, Yahushua. All right, and he's going to save his people, not everyone. That's why it says save his people. I thought Jesus came for everybody, but why does it say his people from their sins? His people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's who the Most High Yahweh sent Yahushua in here for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Nobody else. Okay, and I brought this out because I want you sisters and your brothers to understand that this Bible is talking about you. It should give you some confidence knowing that these people in here are black like you. Don't be scared of this Bible. Don't believe the lies that these Edomites and these other, heathen nations are put out there telling you things like, this is a white man's book, and that, they don't tell you that King James, King of the Scots, was a black man. Okay, he wasn't in the truth, but he was a black man. All the prophets and the priests and whatnot in this Bible are black people. Just pick the book up and read it. We want to get some more of that. Okay. The book of Matthew, next verse, the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And this is Christ, okay? Again, Matthew 15 and 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Again, Christ is telling you he didn't come from nobody else, but the lost sheep of the house of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, the tribe of Judah here in America, the brothers and sisters scattered all over the globe. He came for the Israelites. He didn't give a damn about no other nations. He came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is Christ speaking. Okay. Again, this should give you some confidence knowing that this is your, Jesus Christ, or who you think that you're following, or Yahweh that you think you're following. He came for you. He came for you, black man, black woman. He didn't come for nobody else. Don't let them lie to you. Get out of those Christian churches. Get from under the spell of those damn bastards. They don't give a damn about our people. They're there to make money. They're there for vain profit for their own selves. They're not there for you. They're there to serve, to kiss the oppressor's ass, slacky, kiss their behind, and put you at odds with your creator. All right. Okay. The book of Matthew, chapter 15. Slacky. we're gonna get some more proof that this book is speaking about blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Okay, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13 to 15. This is the description of Christ. Okay, now you as a black man or a black woman, this should be the greatest news to you if you don't know this, that Jesus Christ, as they ignorantly call him, Yahushua, the greatest man that ever set feet on this earth, is a black man like you. The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13. And again, the reason why I'm reading this is just to get you away from the spell of things like Labor Day and these other holidays and these wickedness that these other nations do. Just because you step aside from that, you're not going to lose anything, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. And when you read this Bible, you're going to find out that these people in it, they kept the laws, statutes, and commands, and they were black people like you. So you can do this as well. Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. Of course, the 7 candlesticks are the 7 churches that Paul set up in Asia Minor. Clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. A long garment, like a robe, like you see the priests in the Ashby BK under Commander General Yohana wearing. Some of the priests have them on, in the camps that we go to, or like, at the Passover and whatnot. It's a long, robe with a belt buckle, like a girdle, a belt buckle. Look like warriors. That's why we dress that way, because this is how Christ dressed. All right. And so did the prophets in the Bible. And girt about the paps with the golden girdle. Okay, Revelations 1 and 14. Here we go. His head and his hairs were white like wool, meaning white like a color, meaning he was up there in age. White like wool, meaning wool, a texture, like the black man, the so-called black man, woolly hair. This is Christ, the greatest man that walked the earth. He looks like us. We look like him. And his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. Like any brother or sister like to have a little sip of wine. You like to get it in a little bit with your brothers and your sisters. That's this Christ. He had, red eyes, like any brother or sister. Revelations 1 and 15. And his feet like unto fine brass. The color of brass is like a penny. You got a penny in your pocket, you got some change laying around, take a penny out, look at it. It's a brass complexion. That's like us, black man, Hispanic man. You know what I mean? Like fine brass. This is what Christ looked like. This is a description of the person that you think that you're going to Christian church and worship, are believing in, even though we know that, the Most High is above all. And Yahushua came to keep the Most High's order down here on earth. And he taught us. Okay. But Christ, his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace. I mean, this was a black brother. Like, a lot of us like to make jokes about, our black brothers and stuff, when we were ignorantly, when we were, in the world, you make jokes about your own brothers being black. But guess what? Christ is a black man, and black is beautiful. Okay. And his voice like as the sound of many waters, meaning Christ had a warrior spirit. He wasn't a punk, sissy, blue-eyed, stringy hair, hippie looking, man that they portray in the Christian church, who is really Cesar Borgia. That's not Christ. Christ was a black man with woolly hair and dark feet. Okay. And he had the voice of a warrior. Okay. That's what your king, Yahushua was like. Okay. So don't let nobody tell you any different. So again, you're learning in the scriptures that these people are black like you. The greatest man to touch the earth was black like you. And he did it. He was sinless. He kept the law, statutes, and commands, which means you live in this place now because he was crucified for you, and you got to keep that now. Now you can do it just like he did it. Okay. All right. Get a few more here. And let's see how Christ thought. Okay. So we follow the pattern of Christ. What did he do? How did he feel? What did he do while he was here on earth? The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law. This is Christ speaking. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So Christ is telling you when he came, he wasn't teaching anything different that wasn't in this Old Testament. Okay. He wasn't teaching anything different that's in these scriptures that the Most High had already, designed to be in here. All right. He didn't come to destroy that. He came to uplift the prophets, Ezekiel, Daniel, what Moses was teaching, these people, the blacks and Hispanics that were in this Bible, he came to uplift them. He came to not to destroy that, but to fulfill, to tell you again, to put this Bible in your face. Look here, black man, this is your constitution. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is right you, right you from your wrongs. Okay. This is what Christ taught. Okay. Matthew 5:18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. He's telling you, don't nothing change about this Bible. Nothing changes about it until you see, as long as you see that heaven here and this earth, you can put your feet on this damn ground. Nothing changes about this Bible. Okay. And this is heavy because what do they teach you in the Christian church? That the laws are done away with. Just continue to put 20s, 100s, and 50s into that collection plate and pass it up to Reverend so he can get a new, Range Rover or a new BMW, or, he can put some alligator shoes on his feet, and get that new nice, Dapper Dan, $10,000 suit. As long as you keep paying your tithes, that's okay. But don't worry about the laws. Don't worry about that. We don't worry about that. Forget about the Old Testament. That's what the preachers are teaching you in the Christian church. That's why Christ is saying to you, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. And black man, you have to understand this. This is heavy because this is what's detrimental to you here in America. You won't follow the laws we won't follow the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High. So as long as these rules and laws are here, we have to keep them. We can't listen to the heathens or these lying-ass Christian pastors or, the Muslim imam or whoever. They don't have the truth. The truth is in the ISUPK under Commander Jordan Yohana. That's what the truth is, because they keep Commander Jordan Yohana did or does what Yahushua says, and Yahushua does what the Most High says. And that's how we know we're following the truth. Okay. And so does every priest and officer, captain, the generals, from the generals on down, keep the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High in the ISUPK. And we're the only group that does that. The only organization that does that. Of course, like I said, Christianity has taught us that the laws are done away with. But we just need to pray to Jesus. But as long as you continue to pay them tithes, you're good. You're good with the Christian church. You're good with Reverend. You can keep sinning as much as you want. Go to confession in the Catholic Church, but pay them tithes. You understand? Make sure you pay them tithes. Okay. And you got a black man and women. You got to consider what the motive is of these pastors. Their goal is to separate you from God. Okay. And for the black pastor, he gets rich by keeping the white man's or the so-called oppressors, his doctrine or teaching it to you. He gets rich. The white man stays in rulership and you get punished by your God. That's what happens. And you got to consider this. Okay. You got to consider, is it really for your good being in the Christian church, or is it the financial gain for somebody? I mean, just look what's happening there. You emptying your last into the damn collection plate, and then next week you pull up and the Reverend pulls up like, you know what I mean, with a brand new, Tallulah ride or something, something like that, something, whatever, something modern. But he pulls up, whips up on you, you know what I'm saying? He comes out, steps 1 foot out the the ride with the the alligator, alligator shoes, you know what I'm saying? His suit is so clean, you can't even, get next to him. He don't even want to, walk past you because his suit costs so much. But you understand what I'm saying to you. Are you really serving the Most High, or are you serving these vain leaders? Are you really serving the Most High, or are you serving the oppressor, who hires the vain leaders? That's what you need to understand. And again, like I said, coming up here on Monday is going to be that, another hell day where, we're going to be tricked into, celebrating Labor Day, which has nothing to do with the history of our people and, our service to the Most High. And if you celebrate these things, you're going to anger the Most High. Okay. So with that, I'm going to end the class. And again, this is the ISUPK and the Commander General Yohana. I'm Priest Officer Kwamgwam, and shalom.